so obsessed with one thing, and then you try to figure it out, try to heal it, doesn't work. So another thing comes in and you start to work on that thing and you work on that thing. And guess what? One of the biggest things that the ego is going to make you work on and figure out and stay busy at is you. What I always say, and this is the truth, you are not a problem that needs to be solved. The title of this section is The Ego Body Illusion. The Ego Body Illusion. The ego thinks it is an advantage not to commit itself to anything that is eternal, because the eternal must come from God. The ego thinks it is an advantage not to commit itself to anything eternal, because the eternal must come from God. Right there, we're in, right? So we're already right in. We're run by our ego if we're not aware. We're run by our ego. And the ego never wants you to be happy, never wants you to have that sense of complete inner peace, which is the goal of Course in Miracles, is peace. So what it does is it tries to get you to have what's called false idols in things that are not eternal. A job, money, even relationships. You think that those are the things that are going to bring you peace. They will never bring you peace completely because they're not eternal. Now, what you can get out of a relationship is eternal, but that's a whole other topic, right? So the ego doesn't want you to have a relationship with God, source, love, because that is never ending. There was never any beginning. There will never be any end to source, God, or love. So right away, we're being taught immediately what the ego is doing in your life, right? Eternalness is the one function the ego has tried to develop, but has systematically failed to achieve. The ego compromises with the issue of the eternal, just as it does with all issues touching on the real question in any way. So the ego has, when he says this, he's saying that the ego has tried to convince you that these things are eternal, that there's nothing wrong with anything I'm about to say. Eating the right way will get you peace. Having the right job will get you peace. Having enough money will get you peace. So it tries to substitute all these things for the eternal, but it systematically failed. That's exactly what it says, systematically failed to achieve. The ego compromises with the issue of eternal, just as it does with the issues touching on the real question in any way. What's the real question? The real question is, are you ready? This is me saying this. Are you ready to let go of the finite so that you can fall into the infinite? That's really the question. By becoming involved with tangential issues, now this is where it's going to be really obvious to you. By becoming involved with tangential issues, it hopes to hide the real question and keep it out of mind. What are tangential issues? What are tangential issues? What are they? Shiny object, shiny object, shiny object. I'm going to be on social media and try to find my people, and then I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do that. These are all tangential issues. The issue is, I said to you, this is my words, not the Course, is that are you ready to let go of the finite and fall into the infinite? So you're constantly like, let's do that. No, let's shift that. Let's do that. Let's do that. Right? The ego's characteristic busyness with non-essentials is for precisely that purpose. Preoccupations with problems set up to be incapable of solution are favorite ego devices for impeding the learning process. Now, I know this is a lot. Listen, I know this is a lot, but I want to really make this super clear to you, because when you get this, you're going to really understand what the ego is doing. The ego's characteristic busyness with non-essentials is for precisely this purpose. Non-essentials, how you keep staying busy, how you keep trying to figure out a problem, how you keep trying to do this or to do that or to do that. That is exactly what the ego wants you to do. So, of course, what's the antidote to do? Stopping. Stopping. Preoccupations with problems set up to be incapable of solutions are favorite ego devices for impeding the learning process. So, if you are sitting there trying to figure it out, trying to understand, trying to make sense of it, that is the ego keeping you from falling into eternity, which is where love is, which is where God is, which is where the source is. So many people, I'm sure, can relate to this. And then you try to figure it out, try to heal it, doesn't work. So another thing comes in and you start to work on that thing and you work on that thing. And guess what? One of the biggest things that the ego is going to make you work on and figure out and stay busy at is you. What I always say, and this is the truth, you are not a problem that needs to be solved. Many people come to a spiritual road or a spiritual path thinking, I'm a problem, I have to be fixed. I'm a problem, I have to be fixed. So let me try to find the way. Maybe it's, and I'm going to say it again, I don't want to slam anything. There's nothing wrong with anything I'm about to say. Maybe it's crystals. Maybe it's tarot. Maybe it's A Course in Miracles. Maybe it's veganism. Maybe it's yoga. Maybe it's meditation. Maybe it's, so it's like this constant thing, because at source, the ego has convinced you that you are a problem and you have a problem and you got to figure it out. Take a deep breath. You're not a problem to be solved. In all these diversionary tactics, however, the question that is never asked by those who pursue them is, what for? I love that. The question that's never asked, like, what for? Why am I doing this? Why am I trying to figure that out? Why am I trying to solve this problem? It reminds me of The Sound of Music. What song is that? Anyone know? Anybody know? How do you solve a problem like Maria? This is the question that you must learn to ask in connection with everything. With everything. Why am I doing this? What for? What for? What for? Which comes back to, what we always know. Why am I doing this? What's my intention? Because your intention is you have an underlying belief that something's wrong. Nothing's wrong. Nothing is wrong. Nothing is wrong. Nothing is wrong. I'm going to say it again. Nothing is wrong. Hello, nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong. Take a deep breath. Whatever it is, it will direct your efforts automatically. When you make a decision of purpose, then, you have made a decision about your future effort, a decision that will remain in effect unless you change your mind. Unless you change your mind. This section is about the ego and what? And eternity. In a way, this is one of the most practical things that I've kind of taught here on Insight Timer. If you are getting caught in busyness and trying to figure it out and trying to organize and trying to it means that your ego has co-opted you and it's trying to keep you from your peace. Peace is not when the problem is solved. Peace is not yesterday. Peace, if anything, is right here, right now. The ego is going to keep you busy. It's going to make everything complicated. You're going to try to organize it and figure it out. Blah. There's nothing wrong with comprehending and understanding. But there is a point where you know that this is called what? Analysis paralysis. Why did my mother do that? Why don't people like me? Why can't I lose the weight? Why? So if you ask why are you asking that why? Is because there's somewhere underneath the ego has co-opted you and said something's wrong. Nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong. Take a deep breath. To some people, especially if you're new, you might be like, what the hell? This guy's saying nothing's wrong. I had a divorce. I'm miserable. I don't have a job. I'm miserable and nothing's wrong. That's the finite world. The finite world is an illusion. In the infinite, in God, in source, in love, which you are living right now, right here, otherwise you wouldn't even have a consciousness to even see me or hear me. At that same time, everything is exactly right. But the ego co-opts you and goes, oh no, don't look over there. Look over here at all the things that are wrong. And it's up to you to fix it. Fix yourself, fix the world, change things. Okay, I hope that you got something out of this. So take a deep breath and I'm going to take your comments. All right, what if you're sick, Sister says? Yeah, you're sick. You are sick, but nothing's wrong with you being sick. I know that sounds harsh. Nothing's wrong with you being sick. It's exactly what needs to happen right now. It's exactly what needs to happen. If you're resisting the sickness, you're going to be sick for a lot longer. Or the journey of the sickness is going to be much rougher. Just say, yes, I'm sick. This is fine. But here it is. It's in the illusion. In eternity, in truth, there is no sickness. There's no body. So there's no sickness. So say, yeah. You can't break your leg and go, oh, I'm going to pretend like I don't have a broken leg. I'm just going to pretend like I don't. No, you have to say, I have a broken leg. And in this 3D reality, I better get a cast. Otherwise, what will happen? It will never heal right. You will be in pain. Lots of things will happen. So you accept it, but there's nothing wrong with that. It's the meaning you're giving it. Okay, let me just say this right here. Let me look back here. I hope that makes sense. Nothing to see here. Vast nothingness feels so good, right, Sarah? That's right. Louisa, I think that I just explained that. What if one's ill? Is it asking us just be where we are at without trying to understand it or change it? Yes, Judy. Yes. There's nothing wrong with understanding it. There's nothing wrong with understanding it. But there is a point at which you get where the ego has co-opted it and it's like, now I got to figure it out. That's where it's kind of dangerous, right? So true. Thank you, Wendy, for the although I totally believe that in a spiritual level nothing is wrong, but the pain of heartbreak is real. It is real. You're right. It's real in the illusion. I'm not saying it's not real. I'm saying it's real in the illusion. And this is one of the hardest things to start to get. You can have pain. You can be heartbroken. And at the same time, you can also be in eternity. It's not either or. It's not either or. I needed to be sick. It brought me my relationship with the eternal. Very cool, Adine. Right. Rashem says, if you understand but you don't agree, how to respond? Not agreeing is an opinion. An opinion comes from the ego. So but first of all, you don't have, you got to tell me exactly, Rashem, what you're talking about. You can understand, but you don't agree. Tell me what you're talking about. So it's both. And that's right. This is what most people have not been trained or learned, how to have an emotional life and not lose yourself. Most people feel like if they have an emotional life, they're going to lose themselves. You never lose yourself because you've been trained by people that don't know how to do that. Self-actualized people are able to have every kind of emotion, but they don't lose themselves. This is what we're talking about here. This is very psychological. Very psychological.